Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for yet another Film Fanatic video. Hope everyone's doing good. It is Tuesday at about 11:17. It is a pretty gray, overcasty day here again in Mid-Coast Maine. It got pretty over. It was a nice day yesterday, but towards the end of the day into the night, it went to a pretty gray climate, and it felt like it was going to rain, but it hasn't. It feels like it's going to rain any second, but it's just a very overcasty day. I On Mondays, it's been really fun. Getting involved with new projects or new things that you're excited about. It's a thrilling feeling and thrilling experience, and it always really has you know this real resonation for me as far as like getting enthusiastic about certain things. And I've talked a lot about you know the other things that I do outside of this channel, and I try to bring it all together, because I feel like music and films are just, for me, connected at the hip. They're interchangeable. They it's all deeply connected, and especially with my band Quantum. And before I get into a couple other things, before I talk about this really awesome movie that I really have been wanting to get to, this weekend coming up, with Quantum, we will be playing at the All Roads Festival, Friday and Saturday this weekend. And Friday night, we're going to be playing at the opening night at the Three Tides in Marshall Wharf, which is a really, really awesome spot, in Belfast, Maine. It's right in downtown, it's right by the water. It's kind of, Belfast is a great little town, but I kind of feel like it's the coolest thing in Belfast. It's a really great brew pub, beautiful location, right on the water. I've been there, a bazillion times to go and hang out, to see music. This past year or so, I had not gone to it in a very long time, and I've been making it a point to go there more often because it's such an amazing spot. And it's always awesome. And the other thing that's so cool is, well, I've had the opportunity to play some gigs there. I've played there, maybe about four times or so, and it's always a blast. And the gigs that I've had have been on really random nights. Some Fridays, some Saturdays, but I've also had gigs there where we've played like in the middle of the week, and I'm always surprised by the amount of folks that come out to those shows, even during the week, and always a great time. But we're going to be playing there on Friday, this coming Friday at 9:30 at night with Quantum, and it will be part of the All Roads Festival. And we'll be playing about a 45-minute to an hour set. Super excited about playing there with my band Quantum. And then we will also be playing Saturday at the Baz, which is a venue that is part of the Maskers Theatre in Belfast, and that's going to be at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So very excited. We tried to get into this festival a few years back and didn't really have. I got a little bit of a late start applying for the festival and some other things. So I was very excited that we got in this year, and that not only getting the one gig, but we ended up getting two gigs there. So very excited, and we'll be playing, our wacky electronic music and seeing how things go. Usually when we do shows, a lot of the times we have to, bring our own sound and kind of set the space more or less. But this, being that this is a festival, there's going to be, a sound guy, and we basically just have to bring the bare essentials. So, hopefully everything goes good, and it will be fun. And so very excited about that. We've been playing some gigs lately again, which has been really fun. We played a couple weeks ago with, actually on a radio show. We did a live set on WRFR on my friend Spencer Roulard's, electronic show, and we did about an hour show of worth of music, and then we did another, I don't know, 35 minutes or so of like an interview segment. It was really fun. I heard from a few folks that the sound was really great. The mix, usually, a lot of times playing on a radio can be a challenge, just because most radio stations, at least the locally owned radio stations, are not really set up to have the most accurate sound for live broadcast for a band. But Spencer is really, really great. He works for a sound company for his day gig. So he, did a little bit of extra work and set it up. And, from what I heard from people, that the mix was really great. So, but unfortunately, the show was not recorded for whatever reason. So we were not able to record the show, because I was hoping, well, if we ended up doing a pretty good performance and we got a good mix of the show, we could use it for posting and sharing and just to have. But unfortunately, that it wasn't recorded. So, but it was still a blast. We got to play some new material, and I think what we're going to do is do another show on his radio program in the future, maybe maybe in the near future, and try to set it up to where we can actually record it and maybe get something out of it that we can use and to share and to just have for this band. So, looking forward to doing something like that in the future. And then last week we were playing at the Poor Farm. We did a show at the Poor Farm on last what was it, Friday night, and that was, the weather was pretty iffy and stuff, but we ended up playing just about 2 hours, and it was a super fun show. We got to play, a lot of new material. Had some friends come out, and it was a pretty mellow night, but it was still great. And so we're looking forward to doing these shows coming up. This festival is probably pretty much the biggest things we have coming up. I think, so pretty high profile festival. It's, one of the biggest festivals in Maine, and it's really grown over the years. So, and it's great because it just focuses and showcases on original music. So all the bands that are involved are all doing original material. So, and then after that, we do a show that we always love doing, and I always look forward to it every year. We'll be playing at the Camden Library, the amphitheater. Beautiful location in downtown Camden at the library. There's this gorgeous amphitheater that sits right behind the library in Camden. Beautiful outdoor space, and we usually do it every year. We do a concert for like 2 hours. It's usually always on a Sunday afternoon. And we've been doing that for a long time, and that's a really fun gig. I look forward to doing that gig all the time, just because the sound is amazing in that location. It's a really beautiful amphitheater. The acoustics are amazing. The scenery is amazing, and we've made some good connections over the years playing there. We've made some fans along the way, and always a blast. So we have that coming up shortly after, and then the next few shows we'll be doing the summer solstice in Rockland, Maine, which is another gig that we usually do every year, and we've done that for a long time. And that's a big blast, because we just basically set up outside on the streets. There's all kinds of vendors and things going on. They block off the street and Main Street, and there's all kinds of music going on. There's bands everywhere, and we usually set up at one end of the street and play a 2 hour set. So we'll be doing that coming up at the summer solstice. And then we'll be doing another show at the Gypsy Rose Tavern after that. So pretty excited about that. And then we have a gig at Primo coming up. So excited about that too, because that's a really, really beautiful spot. So, stay tuned for some more things coming up after that. Always working on getting some more shows. So it's been really fun. So, and again, the thing I said in the top of the show, getting involved in new projects is, sometimes an undertaking, and then sometimes you can't really, schedule wise, it gets a little bit complicated. And like right now, I have quite a few groups and things that I play with, groups and bands that I, play in and play for. I have a band, Electric Bonfire, which is a really great, fun band based out of Lincolnville, and that's like an original, pretty much an original bass rock band. and I have another band called Split Willow, which is another more pretty much. It's moved into where it's mostly original material right now in the folk rock vein, and that's been a lot of fun. And I've been playing with them for a while, and that's with some close friends, as well as Electric Bonfire. And then another band I play in, Simplexity, which is all original kind of jazz fusion. We That's a lot of fun. That's all original instrumental music. And then have a jazz group, the Whitehead Dean Group, which is kind of our little jazz side project band that we have. And that's a lot of fun. It's pretty different from the other things that I'm involved in. And of course, Quantum, which is my baby, my main thing that I try to focus on, and my biggest love. You know, it's a lot of fun. And then there's another project that I play in called the Cornbread Muffins, which is a like kind of a party cover band, and that band's a lot of fun. The guys in that band are just really great, really awesome musicians, and it's a cover band, but it's super fun. And we've been playing out with that band. So, and I just started this new project called Blind Owl with some friends, and that is super uber fun. I love playing in that band. It's really fun how it just kind of came together. Started off with a coworker, and then eventually meeting her boyfriend, who is this amazing singer songwriter, and we kind of do this thing of where it's this weird hybrid of surf rock meets punk rock, and it's a little bit, it's loud kind of rock and roll, but it's kind of out there too. We have a lot of jamming, a little bit of psychedelic kind of a thing going on, and it's a power trio. But the songs are really great. I'm really excited for this new band. So very cool. Very very excited about this new project in particular. It's a blast. I love getting behind original projects, and especially if something I'm really excited by and I'm really challenged by. And my two favorite loves. My favorite love, my like again my baby, my number one passion is Quantum and will always be. But right now, the second place for me is Blind Owl. I'm very excited for this new band, and we're in the midst now of maybe playing a couple of shows this summer. So stay tuned for that. So very very fun. One of the things I mentioned in an earlier show was I feel like I never do enough science fiction movies. I love science fiction. It's one of my favorite genres. I have done quite a few, but horror being my favorite, but I never really feel like I do enough science fiction. So today is on a sci-fi classic. And it's funny because I've been talking about yesterday's video, the last couple of videos I've been talking about how I get pretty inundated with a lot of movies to watch. Movies that I've been buying, and that for me is a wonderful thing. I love having the feeling of having a stack of movies that I have not seen yet, or a movie that I bought but I've never seen it on Blu-ray or something. In that regard, and I love it. It's like Christmas for me. So I've accumulated quite a few movies that I have not seen, which I don't like to do because I really love to watch everything that I talk about and that I do a show on. And I went to Blue Moose like about a week, 2 weeks ago. Got a really awesome stack of newer movies, and I did some reviews on some of them. There's still a couple I haven't watched yet. So, and then also I've gone to Goodwill a couple of times recently, and I bought some really great movies there. So what I've done, because I realize I'm starting to accumulate quite a few movies that I have not seen yet, I'm trying to make it a point now where I'm gonna make myself go through all of them and watch them, so they don't just collect dust or something like that, and I stick them on the shelf somewhere and they get forgotten about. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that, and I'm in the midst of watching some movies right now that I've never seen. So stay tuned for a bunch of reviews around this new collection of films. So today's film is on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is probably, well, yeah, I mean, easily one of my favorite films of all time. one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies of all time, and one of my favorite Steven Spielberg films of all time. I bought this collector's edition. It's the 40th anniversary. This film came out in '77, and it's incredible. It's I picked this up about few years back, and it's a collector's edition. It's two discs. It's got the full movie, the remastered version of it on Blu-ray, and it comes with a bonus disc of all special features, and it's fascinating, and it's one of the better collections of for a classic film. All kinds of really, really interesting interviews. You know, I'm a super nerd when it comes to special features. That's one of the things I seek out, and this was awesome. I got this super cheap. I can't remember where I got it. I might have been at Goodwill, but it's a beautiful edition. It was used and it's in perfect condition. There's no scratches, nothing, and it's amazing. I have numerous copies of this film. I have seen this movie probably 100,000 times. I've seen this movie so many freaking times, and it always gives me a sense of awe and wonder, and it always blows me away, and it always is so damn entertaining every time I watch it. I love this movie to death. You know, it might be my favorite Steven Spielberg movie if I just think of it, or just say it off the cuff now that I'm thinking about it. So many great films, especially in the '70s, that he made, but this is probably my favorite. Jaws would be another one, but this movie is just so epic. And then considering came out in 1977, and considering the thing that I'm so blown away by with this film are the practical effects. Like, this is way, way before, 45 years or so before any CGI or computer generated effects. Like, it's amazing what they did with what they had, and it was a huge budget film. But watching this film now, it I think it pretty much eclipses any sci-fi movie now that I see that is a big, like, kind of epic film like this. It's amazing. Like, it's some of the greatest effects that I've ever seen, and it still holds up so well. Like, there's nothing about this film that's dated. Like, it's amazing considering that this came out in '77. It's true testimony to, like, master filmmaking. Richard Dreyfuss, of course, one of the most iconic, one of the most popular actors in all of Hollywood. One of his best performances. He's worked with Spielberg quite a bit over the years, obviously with Jaws and quite a few other films, but just amazing, just amazing. I And the cast is just incredible. Richard Dreyfuss, of course. Cary Guffey, who plays the little boy. Francois Truffaut, the famous French director, is in this film, and he is amazing. I have a real interesting history with Francois Truffaut. He's one of my favorite European directors, and I discovered him through this movie. It wasn't until many years later that I started to watch his films. I came across some of his films pretty randomly, fell in love with them, and then I realized Truffaut was one of the lead actors in this movie, and he plays one of the head scientists, and he's amazing in it. So cool, and it was such a cool discovery of that. Melinda Dilton, also just amazing in this. Justin Dreyfuss, Terry Garr, of course, another Hollywood icon. Bob Balaban, just such an amazing cast. The other thing that is just, aside from the story, just being, it's such an epic sci-fi movie, and it has this, unbelievable production value, like I said. But the other thing that I love about this film is the score by another icon, John Williams. Obviously most known for Star Wars. I think, and again, John Williams has scored so many different kinds of films, and he's definitely one of the greatest film composers of all time. And he's done all kinds of other things that are, kind of always surprising at times to what he's done. He's mostly known, obviously, for Star Wars and doing science fiction epics like this one. But I feel like his work on Close Encounters is his greatest achievement. I A few years back, I used to be a really hardcore collector of vinyl records. I still have my turntables and things in my basement. I had bought this really nice set of turntables, and it's a regular like professional DJ setup back when people used vinyl. It's a Techniques turntable, and it has two decks, two turntables in it, and it's super fun. I At one point when I bought it many years ago. I used it for a couple of parties. My girlfriend at the time, we lugged this beast. This thing, the thing that's so terrible about this turntable setup is it's so old school, but the thing weighs like 1,000 fucking pounds. So to move it around is it's virtually impossible. But I remember I brought it once to my girlfriend's house, and we ended up having this party, and we had, I brought a bunch of records, and my friend Charlie, who I've talked about a lot, and a bunch of videos. He was DJing a lot. He did a set, and we just played records, and it was super fun. And I've done it a bunch of other times, mostly here at the house. But the thing with those turntables is it's so cumbersome and it's so fucking heavy. The guy that I bought it from, Nathaniel, used to use it regularly for DJ gigs, and I just was like, how the fuck do you do that? Because unless you're King Kong, how are you going to move this thing around? But he used to do it, and he's kind of a beast anyway. But when I bought these turntables, I started buying all kinds of records, and I used to buy all kinds of novelty records. And my most prized possession that I came across and that I bought was the film score for Close Encounters of Third Kind, and of course composed by John Williams. And it's amazing because there's all of this music on the soundtrack that was not used in the film, and it's some of the music is so eerie and terrifying that was not used in the movie. This movie actually, there are certain scenes in this film where the music and the atmosphere. I mean, it's definitely like a family movie, but it has a lot of drama. And there's certain sequences in this movie that I feel are pretty frightening and pretty dark, and can give you nightmares, and there and the music is just incredible, so intense. But on the soundtrack, the record that I bought, and again, it's my favorite album that I own. I don't use vinyl right now because I have to get it set up again. I have to get some new needles, and I have to, it's too much of a beast to really move around. But I was listening to a lot of vinyl at one point and buying lots of records, mostly these weird novelty records. But there's all this music that's included on this record that was not used in the movie. And it's fucking intense. Like it's something out of like The Omen. It's like super intense, super dark. And for whatever reason, maybe because the music was too intense or dark, it was not used. But it's got all of the music that is used in the movie, but it's got all of these other tracks and compositions that were not used. And it's amazing. It's again, so many great movies John Williams has composed for, but Close Close Encounters is by far my favorite, hands down. Just unbelievable. Love it so much, and you know, it's a movie that has definitely gotten the acclaim it deserves over the years as being one of the greatest sci-fi epics. My favorite sci-fi movie of all time would be Blade Runner by Ridley Scott, but this would be a close tie or close second, if that, if you want to like go by a number kind of scale. I love this movie to death, and it's got such a scope to it, and it's such a fully immersive experience. I mean, I would imagine if this was ever re-released in the theater and say, in a really good theater with a really good edition of the movie, to see it like an IMAX or some kind of other, kind of just a really great theater, it would be just like kind of a religious experience. But this Blu-ray, like I said, is the quality of this Blu-ray is incredible, and I have a really good man cave, and watching this edition on Blu-ray is definitely the best experience I've ever had watching this epic movie. I love this movie to death. I've seen this movie so many freaking times, and every time I watch it, I'm always like hooked, like totally hooked into it, and just I get excited. I feel like now I'm excited just talking about this film, and I kind of want to watch it again. This is how it is, but it's such a intense movie too, and like the minute that I start watching this, I'm just glued to the screen. I can't not watch it. I can't take a break from it, and it's got great characters, great suspense, especially in the first half. It's a very mysterious movie in the beginning because you're not really sure, especially the first few viewings, but even now after seeing it so many times, you're not really sure what's going on or what's happening. And then when you slowly get more information, you realize this picture is getting bigger and bigger, and the whole epic nature of this film is just kind of pulling you in. But what a classic from the 70s. 70s, 80s, I love all kinds of new things, but 70s and 80s, just for me, my favorite period of filmmaking all around. And this movie is one of the masterpieces of all time, and definitely one of the greatest movies that came out during the 70s, 1977. Uh, I'm sure most of you have seen this movie, but if you haven't, you got to do yourself a favor, and especially if you can see it with this kind of quality, this is where it's at. Amazing, amazing, amazing film. So this is Jason Dean. Thanks again for everyone supporting this channel, and keep the comments coming. And if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Peace.